That is each a system after a system after a system, which means those systems are coming from the west, so they're going to be impacting us to the west of the northeast before then, and that is exactly what we're seeing. We've got this line of storms rolling off Lake Michigan, knocking on your door in Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, Chicago. You can see that the storms have cleared out currently, but we still have a ground delay. Departures at about 30 minutes for that ground delay. Now, as you can see, the storms have begun to move out, so hopefully we'll start to see that improving, but as of right now, certainly seeing a few delays there. And as we know, that could domino a little bit. So keep an eye on those flights. That risk for severe storms today going to continue from Grand Rapids down through Indianapolis. We're going to stretch that down into southern Missouri as well. And then a second pocket here as you look a bit farther west through the Plains, Kansas City, Dodge City included in that. And you'll notice that we are watching that available energy, that destabilization of the atmosphere building up over the past 3 hours. When you're starting to see some of these reds showing up, you're knowing that the atmosphere is primed a little bit better for some of those storms getting a bit feistier. And that is what we're expecting as we head through the afternoon into the evening. Couple different rounds of storms that we're watching across this region. So here's our stormy area from Fort Wayne back through St. Louis. Some of those storms with some heavy rain, with some gusty winds maybe. And then you'll see as we head into the overnight, we've got another round of storms that are going to be blasting through Kansas City down toward the Ozarks, really kind of north of the Ozarks to begin with. And then Saturday, we're starting out with this rainy pattern. You can see it here. It's stretching from Dodge City up through Kansas City over into St. Louis. Now, by the morning, tomorrow morning, I'm maybe not quite as punchy with those storms, but there will still be some rain around that could impact, say, your Saturday morning run, going to the farmer's market, anything that you might be doing. Keep an eye on that because there will be some rain around. Tomorrow, we've got that chance for severe storms from La Crosse down through Des Moines and Lincoln. Isolated severe storm for tomorrow, really. It's as we head through the afternoon, you can see that kind of backward C shape that we've got going on there. That could be indicative of some very gusty winds, some heavy rain, maybe a bit of hail. But you'll notice that is really where we're seeing the feistiest of storms at first. Now heading into the evening, maybe some of these storms gain a little bit of a punch there across portions of Kansas. It's just a mess. Like it's not one of those clean forecasts where you're like, it's going to all clear out by this time and it's going to be great. It's kind of on and off with waves of rain, waves of storminess. Now I will say though, a lot of this area could use some rain, so we'll take it. We're just hoping that it doesn't get too stormy for everyone for their weekend, Mike. Amazing there. I would not call it comfortable in Pittsburgh right now. Now, you're not dealing with rain and storms currently in Pittsburgh. It is hot and humid and partly cloudy. But as we head through the weekend and especially into early next week here in Pittsburgh, this is going to be a little bit more what your scene looks like. So let's talk about it. We've got storms in the forecast from Monday through Tuesday that will drop your temperatures a little bit heading into early next week. We're in the upper 80s right now. We'll be in the mid 80s through the weekend, so you can see a little bit of a dip in your temperatures, but what is going to come along with that is the rain and the storms. So here's our rain shield. We're starting you out Monday at midnight, so overnight Monday, we've got that really just large swath, large area of rain stretching from the Mississippi Valley all the way through the Ohio Valley, and then eventually filling in across the interior northeast, making its way to the coast very slowly. This is really going to be one of those things where we're watching the areas that need some rain, especially across portions of the Virginias, get that beneficial rain, but the chance for a few storms going to be there as well. And you'll notice that this is in no hurry to move out. That rain shield kind of sticks around over the Ohio Valley, over portions of the interior northeast for quite some time. That's going to allow our rain to add up a little bit. Generally broad brush 1 to 2 inches of rain, but as we know, you could see locally higher amounts. But as I was mentioning, some of this area, portions of Ohio, West Virginia, small slivers of Virginia in exceptional drought, extreme drought, even severe drought here. We see some of that for Tennessee as well. So you want to see that eradicated with some nice light rain. You don't want that type of rain that's coming down heavy and causing flooding issues, and that could be some of what we see on and off as we head through early next week for that region. In Louisville, you've got that chance for hit or miss storms Monday, storms in the forecast Monday night into Tuesday as well, and you'll notice those temperatures, they're staying pretty warm there though, Mike.
They are. All right, Felicia.
Hey, let's head to Oklahoma City where you are sweating it out right now, but this is kind of going to be the view as we head through tonight into tomorrow. Rounds of rain and storms going to stick around in your forecast in OKC. So you've got changes coming right now. It's just kind of hot. Kind of a mix of sun and clouds, and that is what a lot of us are dealing with. It's 90 in St. Louis, 87 in Kansas City, Omaha. You've got temperatures sitting at 83, but as we head through the afternoon, we'll watch as some of these storms bubble up. Some of those could reach severe limits. 2 different areas that we're watching for that possibility of some severe storms. From Grand Rapids stretching down here in between Indianapolis and St. Louis, and then a bit farther to the west for Kansas City, Concordia, Wichita included in that as well. So 2 different waves that we're going to have to watch these storms bubbling up in. The atmosphere is is destabilizing. You can see our available energy over the past 3 hours is increasing, especially there across southern Kansas, across Missouri as well. So we're going to watch as these storms bubble up in that one area that we were talking about between Grand Rapids and St. Louis, with some of those storms having some heavy rain, maybe a bit of hail, some gusty winds. And then we will watch this other complex of storms that's going to be moving into western portions of Missouri, kind of blasting its way through Kansas City into St. Louis. Quite a bit of rain hanging around. And then into tomorrow, we've got that possibility for some stronger storms as well for a large chunk of Iowa, Lincoln, Nebraska. You're included in that. This could contain some damaging wind gusts as we're heading through your Saturday afternoon. So just make sure you're planning your weekend around these topographic elements that are going to increase your risk of landslide. But also the weather plays a big factor in that. So what are some of the weather elements that you're seeing increase this risk of landslides for areas?
When you look at our atmosphere as a whole, right? The warmer atmosphere holds more moisture, which in essence could then produce bigger, more intense rain storms. Does that become a concern for different regions across the country?
I'm a homeowner and I am looking at your map and I'm in one of those areas where it's like, you're pretty likely to see a landslide. What are some of the ways that maybe I could protect my home, some of the things that I need to be looking out for, or is there even anything I can do?
Beyond what your expertise is, but I want to ask you a question about insurance. So if a homeowner lives in a susceptible area to landslides, is that going to be covered by their homeowner's policy? Do they need a flood policy to go with it? What's their protection?
We move forward, is there something that we can do to mitigate this? Like if it's getting worse, is there something that we can do other than reversing the climate change that we're already seeing? Is there something we can do in our area to be like, let's prevent this landslide from happening?
It's a scary thought, right? As a homeowner, that you could be susceptible to something like this and you never
as well as our other areas that we're watching. They're just kind of meandering around there in the central tropical Atlantic. So here's our area to watch that we, as you look at this, you can probably tell there's not a whole lot of organization going on with this at all. There's really not anything to latch on currently, but a medium chance of development over the next 7 days. Our long range models are hinting at something coming out of this, but they have no idea what that something is going to be or where it's going to be. Hence the large waffle area, the development area stretching anywhere between running across the Yucatan Peninsula or just straight up into the Gulf of Mexico. So something we have to watch there. I would say if you have interests along that Gulf Coast region, especially Texas coast, Louisiana coast, well, really, I would just say Gulf Coast region in general, because the models have absolutely no idea what they want to do with this. This is a European model. You can notice here a very broad area of spin and a bit more interaction here with the Yucatan Peninsula, and then re-emerging in the really in the Bay of Campeche, kind of near that as we're heading into next Friday, so a week from today. Now the American model has a little bit of a different resolution here. It has a bit more of a tighter spin and it keeps it a bit farther north. So you can see that here, still some interaction in between Cuba and the Yucatan Peninsula, but the current GFS forecast, the current American forecast, has a much more defined area of spin here next Friday, so a week from today, near the northern Gulf Coast there, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida Panhandle, Louisiana, and that is why we're saying you want to keep a very close eye on this system as we head through this week. Also watching Invest 96L, low chance of development as it meanders around there in the Atlantic, Mike, and then the remnants of Gordon as well. So not a whole lot to watch outside of that one area there near the Caribbean.